Hey guys, Board now back with you, and on this video I will be talking about the first three episodes of a new Apple TV Plus show, which is like a co-production with Studio Canal, and it's like an anthology series which is called Calls, and it's produced by Freddie Alvarez, who people will know. He did like the Evil Dead remake slash reboot, however you want to phrase it. He also did Don't Breathe a few years back, which of course some of you all know there's a second one on its way. And he's seen by many as one of the big up and coming horror talents around. So this is his first go at TV, like executive produce this. And as I said, it is an anthology. The setup is that basically each episode is about a different call and a different story with different characters. And what happens is you don't actually see any of the characters on screen. You don't see their faces or anything that's happening to them. So you just literally hear the calls between them, and you kind of get like these quite flashy like visual type things that represent like the phone line and the sounds and just what's happening. Flashy directorial touches in this, and you kind of get a sense of mood and atmosphere, and there's kind of a mystery behind each one, and normally like a twist. But I'll just do a short video like summing my feelings up on this, because it's quite hard to review something like this, and obviously now that I've watched it, and this is in no way me being down on this in any way, because I really like this so far based on this three, but I'll say I won't review anymore, because I don't think it lends itself to like in-depth discussion. I think it is this very sort of artsy type anthology series. It has a certain style to it, a certain mood, and there's a mystery to it. And the suspense, a lot of the suspense is obviously to do with the fact that you can't actually see the characters, you can't actually see what's happening to them, which particularly in the first episode I think really plays into the drama. It would be very hard to get any sort of meaty reviews out of this sort of thing, so, and whether I recommend it, and I do recommend it based on the three I've seen. I think it's a nice little concept. I think it's a good twist on similar things that we've seen. When it started, I did wonder, can this really sustain itself over like these episodes? But obviously what it does is it sort of treats them like a collection of short stories, and each episode, there's 9 of them in the first season, and each one is really short. So I think 2 of the 3 I watched tonight were like 19-20 minutes, and one was even shorter than that. I think one of them I watched, I can't remember which one now, but one was like only 15, something like that. So really short, and they do work well in that. It sort of has that sort of late night cult sort of anthology type feel to it. Like you just sort of, well, watch isn't the right word, but you sort of experience it and kind of get into. You can't see the characters, but you can hear them, and you get a sense of what's happening, but your mind is just left to linger. There's just something very powerful about the blank screen but flashes of colour and the fragmented sound. I think this is all about language, because basically the setup is that you just see the characters' names, and you'll kind of get like a design, like a line or something, which they do interesting things with, because in the third episode they do this thing where a character goes into a house and he goes upstairs, and you get like a line that sort of goes up, and there's a lot of interesting directorial touches with colours and stuff, and just different. Like the second episode, I really like how they opened it up into like a wide open space and made it quite cinematic for what it was. But it's definitely a good cult watch because of the length of the episode. I think you could binge this definitely in one night. The audience it's going for, I think you could see how people could really get caught up in it. And Elfez obviously knows how to create suspense and horror. And definitely the first episode in particular I did find very chilling and just unsettling. And I think it was the most abstract of them because you weren't quite sure what was happening by the end, which I think was definitely a good thing. 3 episodes, the first three. So the first one, very abstract of it to call the first one the end. Then the next one was the beginning, and then it ended with Pedro across the street. 3 at least are all directed by Alves, so it's sort of his baby. One thing I like between the second and third one is that they both started off with a date, but like the first date was like February something or other, the 9th I think, and then for the second one it changed to March sometime. But I did like that they were connected with a date because I think for anthologies you do like to have some sort of connected sort of tissue. And in the second one, actually, the middle part, I think the date did become important to the drama. So the end, it's basically about a long distance relationship. This couple who haven't seen each other since like New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, and sort of they're having problems long distance wise, and they're sort of interrupted at one point, and one outside her house, and the call sort of gets cut off. And then there's a twist with Tim, who's like the name of the boyfriend, and they're just having certain problems. But there's definitely a surreal twist to that episode. The next, you've got Aaron Taylor Johnson. You've also got Ben Schwartz. Parks and Rec fans will know him. Jennifer Tilly as well, like from the Chucky movie. So quite the cast in the second one, I have to say. Jennifer Tilly is just brilliant in it. But this dispute in this relationship between like this character Mark and Rose, I think his girlfriend was, and the fact that she's pregnant and it was like unexpected, and he has been pretty aggressive in saying he doesn't want children, and so he just like left randomly and got quite aggressive and frustrated and just left each other with him on the road. And basically, without giving away spoilers, his perception of time does not match up with the other characters. So there's a sense that he's basically reliving the same day. So that's all I'll say for that one, really. And then the third one, Pedro Across the Street, with again a solid cast. You've got Mark Duplass, Judy Greer, Pedro Pascal. That one almost says what it does on Tim, but you have this character, the Duplass character, talking to his girlfriend or wife, actually played by Judy Greer, who works at a bank, and he sort of calls out work and a bit of a set to between them. But then he gets this mystery call, which literally on the call says Pedro Across the Street. And the setup is that Pedro, who's like his neighbour, wants him to first of all check to see if he left the door open at his house. And when the depressed character goes across, he discovers that it is open, and then Pedro says, "Hey, can you check everything's all right?" And he goes inside and goes upstairs, and basically it sort of leads to the Pedro character asking I forget the main character. Oh, Patrick. Asking Patrick, can he look after this bag for him, this mysterious bag? And again, without going into spoilers, that's pretty much all I can tell you about that one. Again, some further twists and turns coming, but that's the setup for the 3 episodes, and I think it's best if you go into them quite fresh. I do have one small complaint, and I think it's definitely highlighted in the 3rd episode. At times, it's a bit sexist, the portrayal of women. I think they do come out of it a bit weaker than the men. I think they're quite thinly sort of drawn. I think especially, this is sort of ironic with Judy Greer, because she's an actress I absolutely love and she's great in everything, but she often gets saddled in these really sort of hapless, sort of supporting type roles where she's almost there to serve the men in the drama. And I felt a bit like this because I think they do make her quite unlikable, her character Alexis, and I thought in quite a forced, shallow fantasy way where it just felt just kind of unbelievable, and I just wanted her character to have a bit more to her. And I think by the end there's this a bit awkward, kind of well, I don't want to give, but bromance almost, and it's almost like she is portrayed as a bit of like just a very shallow sort of selfish like female character. There's something then I still came away enjoying the 3 I've seen, even though there are some problems. But I think the 3rd story, because of that, because of how full on they went with it, was maybe my least favourite. Because again, I feel sorry for Judy Greer. It seems to be story of her career, but she obviously does a good job with what she's got, and great cast. So as I said, 9 episodes, and they all went up today on Apple TV Plus, and I would recommend checking it out. I think it's really good stuff, very engrossing actually, very suspenseful. So I will check out the rest because it's such an easy watch. They're so short, and I think for a niche sort of audience, I think this one's really going to stand out. And thoughts on the opening 3 episodes of The Calls, that all episodes now streaming on Apple TV Plus. So thanks for listening, and I'll be back with more new TV reviews as well. I've just started reviewing The Falcon and the Winter Soldier from Disney Plus. I'm also reviewing the recent Showtime series, Your Honor. So if you've been following that, or if you've seen that, then you can join in the conversation. But like and subscribe. Support the channel. You can contact me at Keith Beard on Twitter, and you can also help donate some money if you feel like it. If you want to support me, there's a link in the description. But yeah, thanks for listening. See you guys again soon. Goodbye.